Alright guys, I'm back again. We're going to talk about Freeport. It's a copper play, I guess, copper or silver, whatever type of stock it is. We're going to talk about it today. So we're going to go from left to right and let you guys fully understand what's going on and give you a gauge of, how this stock is moving. So from the left side, as you see, a top is developing, and as you see where the red line is, that is where the ceiling is. And as you see at the bottom, this is the RSI. This tracks the buyers and sellers. And the closer the line gets to the top line, is going to let you know when you have a lot of buyers, when you have a lot of sellers. So when it gets closer to the top line, it's going to let you know you have a lot of buyers. When you get closer to that bottom line, it's going to let you know that you have a lot of sellers. So the further we go over to the second arrow pointing down, we see that the lowest for this stock was 1451. By the way, this is a 10-day chart. I think for the 20-day it's showing the same results. It might be oversold, but the RSI is showing the same for the 20-day and the 10-day. But if you go in closer, if you go from the 10-day all the way to current, it might show a little different RSI pattern, or it might show a difference in buyers and sellers. So as we look at the low 1451, the stock did hit that low line. As I said, when you hit a lot of sellers, or when you do have a lot of sellers, the stock price does take a hit. So as you see the next day, you see a blue line right there. That blue line lets you know that the sellers were just about going crazy. They were dumping the stock, which caused this thing to take a gap down. And a gap down is just simply a stock is it's riding I would say steadily, and then just falls off a cliff just about, and it does in a split second to where it looks just like a gap, or it looks just like a gap. That's what it is. I mean, it's hence gap. So anyways, when it shows the blue line, it lets you know it's a lot of sellers, and that means there's opportunity in there for you to buy that stock. So this is a 10-day gauge of buyers and sellers. I mean, sometimes it's accurate, sometimes it's not, but it gives you the best way to allocate your risk and how to look at the risk involved with playing the stock. So as we go over to the third arrow is when this thing was starting to be shown on the news. A lot of people are saying, okay, the options market is going crazy. A lot of people are seeing a breakout from this stock. So from that, I know you see the clear uptrend from the second arrow to the third arrow. That run was not reported by the news, but that third arrow is when everybody was able to play it, or when everybody was able to actually see this stock take off. And due to the stock taking off, there was a lot of buyers. And as you see, the line went through the top line, or like I said, when it goes to the top line, it's gonna let you know you have a lot of buyers. Once it turns red, that lets you know that this stock is due for I would say a pullback, or it's due for a check. I always call it a check because it does, the stock will get checked and it will go back down. So this is why I avoid buying stocks like this that are way oversold. I mean, way overbought. This thing was way overbought from the 1 day, my 3 day, my 10 day, my 20 day. I mean, there was a lot of buyers in this stock once it was reported on the news that a lot of confidence was, a lot of people were putting confidence in the stock. A lot of people saw that the options market was going to tell the story for this stock, but as you see, it just a gradual tick up, and as you see, the ceiling was at 1765. Since the ceiling was at 1765, immediately after 1765, this thing tanked down, and which caused this thing to tank down was the earnings was good, but the conference call was kind of mixed. I mean, it gave mixed results. So a lot of investors they didn't want to be a part of, something that's profitable, and then the next quarter, or the future quarters will be kind of shaky. So that is why you see a lot of dips like that, or it might just be people taking profits from 1451 on the second arrow. So as we go over to the second circle, or or we can see the first circle is what what I was just describing, a complete breakdown in stock, or a complete knife pattern almost. But as you see, this thing tried to, it tried to tick back up and try to go back to the 17s, but this thing was completely rejected by all the buyers and the sellers. Just, everybody wants to get out of this thing. They didn't think that it didn't have any more juice, and then, as what you see, the juice has run out and it's back at 1584 from where I was doing my videos on it prior to the stock fall. So as you see, when we get closer to the fourth arrow down, we start to see that a lot of sellers are dumping this stock. So as you see that line right there where it says 15.8, I want you guys to pay close attention to that line, because if it falls below that line, we might be looking at a breakdown. And if we look at a breakdown, who knows where this thing could go. My second line right here, which is the 1451, is what we call support. As I see right here, there might be support at this $15 level, but the stock price has to break down below this price for me to start plotting out support and start to predict where this thing's gonna bounce. But I think it might hold this 15.8 level. But if we start to see an abundance of sellers just come in and just keep dumping this thing, we might see a breakdown, and this thing might go back to $14. So that's my little spill on the stock. If you guys are looking for investment opportunities, this might create one for I would say for a couple of days, but I wouldn't touch it just yet, just because that the RSI is relatively low. You know me, I only buy it if a lot of sellers are dumping in, and selling the stock, and the line turns blue. If the line does not turn blue for me, I cannot buy it. I will just look at it, but if the line does not turn blue, I will not touch it. I won't force it. We're gonna watch the technicals here. We don't want to force any other thing. So when the line turns blue, you want to buy. When the line turns red, you want to sell. Or the red line could just let you know about the momentum in the stock. It will give you a good gauge of the buyers. It'll let you know how much momentum the stock does have. So you don't necessarily have to sell once once this line turns red, but it gives you a good gauge of where the momentum is going. And I'm not really good on predicting how bad the stock is going to tank once sellers come in, but I'm already putting in my orders and already putting in my sell orders just in case we start to see a tick down, or we start to see a gap down in price. But other than that, guys, I will post more videos on stocks I'm looking at. But other than that, take care, keep subscribing, and keep watching these videos. These are very fundamental things that you need to know before you trade or when you trade. So take care.